We all are going through a very difficult time. We can agree with that. But look at the silver lining. This is a very interesting opportunity for all of us to take advantage of this time so that we can learn new skills. Right when the lockdown was announced last year in the month of March, Techno India Group and Techno India University has taken this responsibility to make sure that the learning does not stop. As part of the learning, we are very glad to welcome all of you today to this very interesting and informative, and I'm sure this is going to be a very fun webinar. LinkedIn. I would say as a young teenager, you should spend more time on LinkedIn than Tinder, Bumble, Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, everything combined. Why? We'll hear from the speaker today. Just to give you an insight, LinkedIn is actually the gold mine of opportunity. Are you a student looking for higher education? Are you a person looking for a job? Are you already working somewhere and looking for better opportunities? Are you trying to build a business? Are you trying to start your freelancing project? If your answer is yes for any of the questions, then you have to be on LinkedIn. And you don't only need to, you're not only supposed to be on LinkedIn, but you need to unlock the complete potential of LinkedIn. And this is exactly what we are going to cover. As a student of Techno India Group, we would expect you to have a very, very powerful profile on LinkedIn, because trust me, this is one of the most important opportunity which you can take advantage of. To talk about this and more, we have with us a very powerful speaker, Ms. Ashna Jain. Ashna is an advocate by qualification and an alumnus of National Law University, Jodhpur. She is the founder of Career Solutions. She was previously associated with Shardul Amarchand Mangaldas and Company and Dua Associates. Just to let you know, Amarchand Mangaldas is one of the biggest and the most influential law firm in the country. She's a career coach for students and young professionals, and also guides them on the seemingly complex task of resume building, interview skills, and personal branding. Over the last few years, Ashna has established herself as a LinkedIn expert, where she's helping professionals, students, and everyone combined on how to unlock the potential of LinkedIn. With one last quote, I would like to close and invite Ashna. When I started my profile, when I built my profile on LinkedIn, I still remember this was somewhere 2013-14. Every single day, I used to be fascinated by looking at people on LinkedIn from across the country and outside. And I truly believed at that point that this is going to be super, super amazing. Today, I don't have a lot of connections. I just have around 25,000 people on LinkedIn. But with this number, today I am connected to almost all the verticals in the startup ecosystem. People from across the world are connected, and they're just one simple message away. Be it people working with Facebook, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, people working with government, people working in corporate, people working in startup, everybody's in LinkedIn, and you need to be there too. With that, I would like to invite on behalf of Techno India University and IIC, Miss Ashna Jain. Ashna, thank you so much for taking our time. Request you to kindly take the session ahead.
Oh, thank you so much. First of all, I'm audible, right? Ishan, could you please confirm?
Perfect.
Okay. Yes. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you for such a nice introduction. Also, like how Ravi said that, LinkedIn is literally where you should be right now, because considering the lockdown might happen again, or the job opportunities are drifting downwards. So this is where you should be. Why? Because the traditional way of, say, finding a job, or say traditional way of finding an internship, traditional way of connecting and networking with people through networking events physically and going to conferences and networking events as such, will not be there, say, for at least sufficient time in future. So you really need to be connected with people. You really need to build your profile. You really need to put yourself out there and showcase it to the relevant people, not to everybody, but to the relevant people in the industry, that listen, I exist as a person, I have these certain skills, and that, you should give me an opportunity. So like every sort of social media network, be it Instagram, Facebook, etc., caters to a different set of audience. So say, for instance, Instagram caters to friends and acquaintances, and Facebook caters to, say, probably family members, and similarly Twitter caters to nobody as such, like, you really need to, say, follow politicians or, say, big business bureaucrats, etc. For that is there. But LinkedIn is there wherein you can connect with somebody who's relevant to your industry, somebody who will give you employment opportunities, somebody who's going to give you some freelance opportunities, somebody who will lend you a hand to say increase your side hustle. And that is why you should be there on LinkedIn, and which is why we have this webinar today in the middle of the day. And like really it's important for all of us to establish yourself on LinkedIn. And I'll tell you about my journey as well in the middle of the webinar, that how LinkedIn helped me say become a career coach in the first place. So I'll just share my screen so that it's visible for everybody. Yes. So is my screen visible?
Yes, all good to go.
Okay, perfect. So now the question is, why do you need social media today? Like, why do you need LinkedIn or Instagram or whichever social media to say send out your applications or to say get connected with people? First is that there's an overwhelming number of applications that goes out from the Gmail to say the HR's email ID, or to say somebody who's in the recruiting capacity, or say somebody who's at the higher authority of an organization. You need to stand out amongst the people who are similarly situated as you, right? Now I'll give you an example from my profession. There are a handful number of jobs in tier 1 law firms in the country. Probably there are, like, every year they recruit only, I think, 100 or 200 students across the nation. But there are 990 law schools as such. So you imagine the number of students which are being churned out every year, and the number of jobs that are there. So you can't essentially just rely on, say, Gmail to be there for you and, to just lend you an opportunity. You really need to do something extra so as to be getting an opportunity in the first place. Second could be that, sometimes in any of the colleges or in any of the universities, there is a non-functional placement cell. Why? Because probably they are a new university, probably they're a traditional university. They don't really know the concept of placement, etc. So they are just there as such as a traditional university. So you can't just simply say that, okay, fine, I don't have a placement cell, so I will just not have a job or say an internship, and I'll just while away 3-4 years of my undergrad, or say 2 years, 1 year of my postgrad, and simply not doing an internship or say not availing a job opportunity. You can do that, and social media helps you to do that. Then there are, of course, we all know this, we've all been through this, non-functional HR email IDs. So according, like, it's not even say to sort of blame anybody, but these days companies and organizations, they really don't put up the exact email IDs of the HRs on their website. Why? Because of the first reason, that there's an overwhelming number of applications. So it's just difficult for them to say process all those applications in the first go, and to say, reach a conclusion wherein they've sifted through those applications and reached the final candidate. So wherein most of the email IDs that you see floating around all over the place, they are almost non-functional. So which is why, again, you need something else, so to say, compensate for those non-functional email IDs. And lastly, social media, because it's not your resume as such, but it's your own personal portfolio in terms of, say, what you are inclined towards. So, there could be a law student who wants to be, say, a growth hacker, or say an engineering student who wants to be a content writer. There could be a medical student who wants to be a content creator, or say a YouTuber. So your profile designates what you want to showcase it to the relevant person. It shows your inclination. Now, say for instance, if in an engineering college, a person wants to be a lifestyle content creator, right? So they can't essentially blame the college placement cell that, listen, you didn't get me a job, or say, you didn't get me an internship. Why? Because the college is not supposed to get you, the college cannot do everything. Like an engineering college cannot get you a job in the content creation industry, probably, right? So which is why you need social media, so to say, to have your own window of wherein, you can showcase what are your inclinations, even if, say, your area of study could be anything. So I think now it's sufficiently clear that, why we need social media. We'll move on to the next thing, which platforms are useful. Of course, LinkedIn and Instagram. In this webinar, the course of this webinar is going to be around LinkedIn, and I'm going to start explaining that why should you choose LinkedIn. See, again, before all of these points, I would want to clarify that, LinkedIn, since it's so new, it has been just explored by people, say, in the last probably 5 to 6 years properly, that there are only, say, around 770 million users on, say, LinkedIn, and they're not all active. So, which is why the content on LinkedIn is really less right now, as on date. And because of that, the organic growth of LinkedIn is extremely high. Now, I'll just give you an example. Now, say, for instance, on LinkedIn, if, say, you put up a post and it does really well, it can even show up on somebody's timeline, even say after 2 weeks, or say even after 3 weeks. Some of my posts have shown up even after, say, 4 months, 5 months. Why? Because somebody else commented on it, and then it went up the timeline, etc. So again, LinkedIn has a really good organic growth as against Instagram. Now, on Instagram, you just put up a post like today, and you check after 10 minutes, probably, there'll be more 100,000 posts which have surpassed your post. So that's the kind of growth that is there on LinkedIn, and which is not there on other platforms. So the organic growth has almost died on other platforms, wherein on LinkedIn, it is skyrocketing as on date. It might not remain as such, but yes, for today, it's the best way that, you can literally take benefit of it. Now, getting into the core points of, say, why you should use LinkedIn is, first of all, that it's not an informal setup. It's very formal in its approach. It actually depends that, which profession, or say which, what sort of network do you have. So if you have a lot of startup guys uh, in your network, you can be a little informal with them also. You can just have casual conversations about, say, their startup, about their funding, about what are they up to, and like what is the kind of growth patterns they are expecting, etc. However, say if you are in the field that I am, say, I usually coach CA students, engineering students, law students, etc., and management students. All of them are really formal in their approach, and which is why there is no sort of, say, there is a no nonsense crowd, right? Why? Because you don't see people, say, randomly joking around, or say randomly just posting memes or anything. You can do that. There are a lot of niches on LinkedIn as well. But the major content on LinkedIn as of today is very formal, and which makes it a little serious. You take those things seriously. Then second is, the purpose of LinkedIn is connecting and networking. Now, if as a person I get some random DM in my Instagram, I would just, be creeped out, and I'll be like, why is somebody approaching me on my personal profile, where I have like around probably only 100 followers on Instagram on my personal profile. On my page, there might be 4,000, 5,000, whatever the small number. But on my personal profile, if somebody messages me that, hi, I want your help, I'll be like, sorry, who are you? Like, why are you approaching me? But the purpose of LinkedIn is not that. So even if on LinkedIn, even if, say, you have only 200 connections, 500 connections, etc., and if, say, you are approaching somebody and telling them that, listen, I connected with you, and these are my skill set, and I would want to seek some sort of guidance on this, etc., whatever your query might be, they will not get creeped out. Why? Because that is the purpose of LinkedIn. The purpose of LinkedIn is to get in touch with people and to network with them. Why? Because these days, you can't just buy a ticket and go to a networking event or a conference, right? Because, I mean, of course, there's COVID, A, and B, there are hardly any events that take place now. There are hardly any conferences that take place. So now when they don't take place, there has to be a way wherein, you talk to people, wherein, you just go and tell them that, listen, I exist, and this is my skill set, and you should notice me. So there has to be some way, and LinkedIn is giving you that platform. Next is no spam. So, you essentially, when, say, you send a message to somebody, it's not spam for them. Why? Because the LinkedIn chat box is made for that purpose, wherein you can go and tell somebody that what are your skill sets and what are you looking forward from them. What kind of help, assistance, or what services you can provide to the other person. It is made for that purpose, and it is not deemed to be spam. Fourth is that people are really receptive on LinkedIn. Why? Because of course, like, LinkedIn, as Ravi really pointed out nicely, it's a hub of opportunities. So people are always on the lookout that, I might just get connected to the right person, and I might be on the receiving end of some opportunity. So people are really receptive on this. So if I get a message today saying that, hi Ashna, I have a business query, please let me know your availability to discuss the same, I would be the first one leaving my Instagram scrolling, and, like, I'll be replying to that message that, listen, hi, please let me know whatever your query is, right? Because it is made for that purpose. The idea is that if I'm getting say a query on LinkedIn, it is probably an inbound lead for myself. Next is latest events and opportunities. Now, a lot of times on, say, Instagram, also on Facebook, also, etc. There are a lot of events and opportunities that you come across, but the formal pages of, say, a lot of law firms, a lot of companies, a lot of the big four, or otherwise also generally, they post a lot of events and opportunities of their formal events, such as webinars, or say, such as some other networking events, etc., on LinkedIn. Why? Because they don't want any nonsensical crowd to join that, probably that event, right? So they want to keep it little formal. They want to weed out all the unnecessary elements from that particular event, so you get to know what are the serious events essentially that are happening. So like how Techno India also, like, they went ahead and posted this on LinkedIn and Instagram. So it's not like that they're going around and posting it on 20 different platforms. Why? Because they want a particular set of audience to join this event, and not like every and anybody out there. Then there's a huge source of relevant information, of course, because then how, all, say, the CEOs and the vice presidents, etc., of all these huge organizations are, say, joining LinkedIn. Of course, they're going to be putting out some of their knowledge. Of course, they're going to be putting out some of their wisdom on LinkedIn. And that is extremely relevant to, say, somebody like me, somebody like you, whoever wants to be at the receiving end of it. And lastly, people with authority are present on LinkedIn. See, now I tell you, people with authority, now my generation, like I'm, say, around 25 years of age, I cannot be at the position of authority as such, wherein, I can't be like the vice president of a bank. I mean, it's just not possible. There might be some child prodigies, but like I'm not one of those, and 99% of the people are not those. So people with authority are like somebody who would be, say, in the age group of, say, 30 plus, 35 plus, etc., and who's there on LinkedIn, because they're not comfortable with Instagram, because it's too, say, too millennial or Gen Z in its approach. Facebook has already lost its charm. Twitter is too political. What is the platform that these people need to come and, talk about their, the stuff that they are doing, the stuff that their company is doing, etc.? It's on LinkedIn. So you can directly connect with these people, and you can actually have informational interviews with these people, talk to them, and, get to know about their company, get to know about the skill set, etc. So which is why I feel that LinkedIn is something that you should be choosing as against any other platform, while you're on the lookout for some opportunities. Now, why should you optimize your profile? Optimizing a profile is only so that, it's so that you can be found on LinkedIn, so that, your profile can rank on LinkedIn, so that, you basically, so that, somebody knows that you are there on LinkedIn. Now, if the whole idea is that, you just can't have a random profile wherein, you here and there filled some blank spaces, and then you feel that, okay, fine, I'm good to go. That's not the point. LinkedIn is not only about reaching out to people, it is also about inbound leads. It is also about, people reaching out to you saying that, hi, I want to offer you a job, or say, I want to offer you an opportunity. So when I left my law firm, I got inbound leads from a lot of like, companies. I obviously can't name them and everything. They wanted to see that, if I can join their organization as a career coach, or say if I can join their organization as a career administrator, etc., or say their placements head. So why? Because they saw my profile, they optimized it. In fact, how Ishan had also reached my profile was, he said, I think Mr. Ravi had suggested that, you can reach out to her. So probably they might have noticed my profile. Why? Because my profile was optimized for the purpose of, say, giving out relevant information of what we are sharing today. So the whole idea of optimizing the profile is so that people can find you in the first place. Secondly, not only find you, so that you rank on LinkedIn. Now, ranking on LinkedIn is something wherein somebody types growth hacker. So you want to see that who ranks first on that, search bar. Obviously, the person who's going to be ranking first, you're going to click on that person's profile, so that, the person who ranks second, you check them later. The person who ranks third, you check them even later, right? So your profile should be searchable and clickable. Now, again, this is searchable. How and when will you click on a profile? Now, if a profile does not have, say, a profile picture, or, it's not complete, it's just looking really like a fake profile, or, the headline is really tacky, it's not something that relates to the industry, people are not going to click on that profile, right? So even after getting searched, if your profile is not clickable, then your profile is not optimized. And lastly, after being searchable and clickable, your profile should be approachable. You should be approachable as a person. So in case somebody comes onto my profile and then they check my profile and then they feel like, no, I don't think I can approach her, probably because she's not really active on LinkedIn, or probably, she's not posting relevant content, or say she's done some very diverse set of work and I don't think it relates to my area of work, right, for which I wanted to approach her. So, which is why your profile should be searchable, clickable, and approachable for people. And when it is a combination of all three, your profile is optimized, right? Okay, I'll just move on. So, how should you get started with LinkedIn? Now, first of all, update your profile picture. Now, I don't mean to say that, your profile picture should be extremely professional. It should just be presentable to the audience that you're catering to. Now, say for instance, if you see, I'll just name a CEO. If you just see Kunal Shah's, profile picture, who's the CEO of Cred, of course, all of us know. So you just see that his profile picture is literally animated, like it's a bit animated picture. So somebody would say that, why would you say put an animated picture on your profile? So it's only because of course, like, he's a startup guy and he doesn't really care about the formality of everything, and it's okay to have any sort of picture, it's fine. But when I was in a law firm, I put a really, say I put up a really, really formal picture. I had put up a picture in a sari, and that was my picture for a very long time. But after I became a career coach, I wanted to, relax my identity, and I wanted to be like, okay, fine, I'm a little easygoing. And I put up a picture in a normal setup and environment wherein, I'm just probably smiling. So it really depends on the kind of audience you're catering to, probably the kind of people you are catering to, whoever's on the receiving end of your content. That is where, you should be. That is how your profile picture should be. Now, cover picture. So cover picture is essentially something wherein, it demonstrates your personality or demonstrates your like the work that you do, the profession that you're in, the kind of opportunities that you're looking. So I would just like to show you by way of an example. So if you just a second, I'm so sorry. So if you just look at my profile picture, I'll just show you. Yes. So if you just look at my profile picture, it's I have written helping students and young professionals to get their dream jobs and internships. Career Solutions by Ashna Jain. So this is exactly what I do. This is something that somebody who reaches my profile should know that, listen, what is she doing? Like, even if say she's a career coach, what is exactly that she does? Okay. So which is why my profile is optimized with regard to a cover picture. Now, when you see why have I written this portion on my cover picture, email me at ashnajain.whatever my Gmail ID is, that, for whatever services that you might require. So I wanted to make myself approachable. So this is something that I wanted to do. Why? Because when somebody lands on my profile, they shouldn't be like that, I didn't understand only that what she does, or like, whatever she's doing or whatever her work is. So this is something that is required really nicely. Next is that I wanted to add a lot of keywords in my headline, wherein I wanted to showcase to people that, what are my credentials and why should you believe me that, I'm a career. So I've written my law firms wherever I have worked, Shardul, Amachan, Mangaldas, and Dua Associates. Then, of course, I wanted to put in the relevant keywords. Now, relevant keywords is something that is extremely, extremely important, wherein, you put up whatever you want to rank for. So I wanted to rank for career coach, resume writer, interview coach, LinkedIn profile optimizer, content writer, and the name of my career consultancy, right? Career Solutions. Now I'll tell you how it matters. Now these were my keywords which I have put everywhere in the session, right? Like everywhere in the say in my profile, I've used these keywords over and over again. So we'll just see that what keywords were I ranking for. So I was ranking for writer, I was ranking for coach, I was ranking for career coach, founder, and content writer. So I wanted to rank for other words also like interview coach and everything, but I ranked for these in the past 1 week, and these were my weekly search appearances. So this was just to say, give you an idea as to, that how and why it matters that, you should be there in your, why and how you should optimize your profile. Then, of course, headline we've discussed, location. Now, location, people usually think that, you can just put up wherever you are living right now, or say wherever your workplace is, etc. But that's not true. Location can ideally be also of a place wherein, you want to be searched for. So if you go back to my profile, you'll see that I have put my location as Mumbai, Maharashtra, whereas right now I'm in Chandigarh. I used to be in Delhi, and earlier I used to be in Mumbai. But why have I put Mumbai or Maharashtra? Why? Because I want people to know, I want to attract more clients from Mumbai and Maharashtra region, which is why I have put in Mumbai and Maharashtra as my location. So people sometimes even put San Francisco, people put Bangalore, people put Delhi, whichever, whatever place you want to rank in, wherever you want to find people from, you can just put your location as such, and it can keep changing. So that is also another thing. Then open to work and providing services. So this is one pop-up that you're going to see, that the moment you land to your own profile, you're going to see that you can just click on open to work and write what kind of work you're open to, and then you'll have a green badge over your profile. So then LinkedIn pushes up your profile whenever there is an opportunity, and of course your profile gets pushed up, and people notice it more if you have that open to work badge. And of course providing services. So I have used this providing services thing, wherein I've written that I am always providing these services related to interview preparation, resume writing, etc., whatever my services are. And I just put up that, so that somebody who lands my profile, this is the first thing that they notice about. Now, updating the about section. So about section, usually some people write it in third pronoun, some people write in second pronoun, whatever it is. You can always write in first person. That's my technique of say going about it. And it need not be really formal, that I've done my schooling from this place, etc. You can write all of that, but it essentially needs to be a story about you, wherein people understand that what have you done and what are you aiming for. So about section is a really good place to have a CTA is a call to action, wherein you tell people that, listen, this is something that you've read, now I want you to do this, now I want you to do this, is called a CTA. And your about section would be, of course, a very good place to have a CTA. So like, say for instance, like I have written that I was a advocate by profession, and then I turned into a mentor, etc., etc. And then my call to action is that you can either visit my website, you can visit my Instagram page, etc., wherein I give free tips and practical techniques and everything for people, right? So that is something wherein your about section features in. Then add all the relevant work experiences that you have, all the awards, honors, publications, relevant keywords. Now, of course, I'm sure most of you would be well versed with the concept of SEO. So SEO plays a huge role in LinkedIn. You add as many keywords as you can in your profile in a befitting manner, and then your profile starts ranking on LinkedIn. So that is something that you need to keep in control. So before we proceed, I just want to do a quick check that I'm perfectly audible and everything's fine, right?
Yes, Ashna, you're perfectly audible.
Okay, thanks. So now, after we've optimized our profile, we've we've updated our cover picture, we've updated the profile picture, we've written the headline, location, everything is sorted. Now, what to do? Like, what should be done next? So how should you proceed? Now, of course, you should proceed by sending out connections. Now, who should you send out connections to? So you can't just see, don't treat it like, say, like another Facebook, or say, or Instagram, or whatever dating app or anything. That's not the point of LinkedIn. You should connect with people who you think are relevant to you. So in my case, say if I'm a career coach, my relevant people would be students, would be young professionals, would be fresh graduates, would be people who are looking for jobs, would be people who are looking for internships, etc. Right? So for say somebody who's a coder, the relevant people, relevant connections would be, say, startup founders, somebody who has a tech startup, ed tech startup, legal tech startup, or say somebody who's in a very big company, say like a Facebook, Amazon, etc., wherein you might want to say go and work, etc. So that is something that is relevant to you. So you need not add all the random people out there in your social network into your LinkedIn network. That is not the same. You need to connect only with somebody who is relevant to you, relevant to your interest area. Now, it could be senior people from the industry. It could be people who are 2 to 4 years senior to you. Why? Because they could guide you as to, how you can proceed with the applications, how you can proceed with internships, how you can, say, proceed with go about talking to people, where all you can find opportunities, etc. Next, you can, of course, have peers who have the same area of interest. Now, say if I'm a law student, or say if I'm an engineering student, and say, there's a peer of mine who has attended a conference. Now in that conference, that person has, say, updated in their profile activity that, listen, I attended this conference and so happened, and I'm really glad I attended this. I learned all these skills, etc. So, which is why, it's relevant for me. Why? Because the next time probably I can also attend that conference, or I can have a word with that person that, listen, what did you learn in that conference? Or what are the skill sets that you gained, etc. Or say if somebody has interned at, say, Facebook, and if I want to intern at Facebook, I'm going to just reach out to that person that, hi, I'm so and so, and I'm also interested in interning there, and I see that you've already interned there. So is it possible that we can have a word about it, or you can guide me through the application procedure? Whatever your comfort level is with that person, you can just proceed with this. Of course, you can connect with hiring managers because they're very active on LinkedIn. They're always putting up opportunities that, our firm has a vacancy, our company has a vacancy, etc. You should always get in touch with hiring managers or the HRs. And last is, of course, alumni. So alumni base is really important in every profession, I feel. And, they are the ones who can really guide you into, say, how you should be proceeding and where all you should be not going towards something that is not important for you, etc. So alumni connections are also extremely important. Now, since we've covered this, I'll just move on to the next. Okay, so now that we figured out that, who is relevant for us, we've identified, say, around 20, 25, 30, 35 people that, okay, fine, these are our connections, and we should be approaching them. So how should you approach somebody on LinkedIn? First is that, you should send a connection request to them, and a connection request can either just be a single random request, which, goes out as a connection request, or it can be accompanied with a message. Now, I personally feel that you can send out a connection request, and later you can send a thank you message to that person, whoever accepted your request, right? So, like, say, for instance, if you send out say if you send out a message while sending a request, then sending a thank you message would become repetitive, and then you will have nothing to, say, continue a conversation on, right? So it's either ways. You can have both the messages, you can send either one of the messages, etc. So that is some way that, that you can, send out a connection request and get in touch with them. Now, secondly, say if somebody connects with you, you can also, like, sometimes a lot of, say, people of high repute and stature, or say otherwise also, generally people come and connect with me. I usually make a point of, say, sending out a thank you message for connecting with me, that, thank you for adding me in your network. And, like, probably we can both add on to whatever each of us are doing, etc. So you can even send a thank you message to somebody who approaches you. So it's not only that, the burden is not only on somebody who is, say, sending a thank you message, sending a connection request. Next is article, blog, follow-up. So now, of course, the idea of approaching somebody on LinkedIn is that, you want to have a conversation about something that is relevant to you, conversation about something that you feel that, you want to be enriched about, something that you want to know of. So of course, what are the common points wherein, you have you can talk to people. Of course, you can check their profile. If they've added some articles, take the pains of reading that article actually, and then you can always ask a follow-up query. You can always ask a query that, I read your article and I would want to discuss about it. You can always say that I am also writing on the same thing and I want to discuss with you. So that is also one thing. Next is that if say you attended a webinar with somebody really prestigious, or say somebody who's really high stature, etc., you can always send a follow-up message saying that, hi sir, hi ma'am, I'm so and so, and I attended your webinar today, or like yesterday, whenever, and I really loved the way you I really loved how you tackled the scenario and the information that you gave us, etc., and I have a follow-up query on that. If you don't mind, I would want to ask you. That is also one thing. Now the second last thing is informational interviews. Now, informational interviews are a very new thing, and it is a concept of the West. But of course, why not take some inspiration from that? So, informational interview is, say you approach a CEO of a really big organization and you tell them that, say, hi ma'am, I'm so and so, and I've of course gone through your profile. There's no need for any introduction of you to anybody, and I feel that you're an industry leader in this, and I am sort of wanting to step into this industry. So is there a possibility that I could, say, get on an informational interview with you, say a 5-minute conversation, 10-minute informational interview, wherein I would want to ask you questions about your organization, about your work life, about what are the skill sets that I need if I want to step into the industry, etc. That is an informational interview. So you need to take care of that as well. You can use this method also. A lot of people are really, they are in favor of giving these informational interviews, and you can proceed with this. Next is real engagement on posts. Now, say if somebody, somebody who you think you really want to connect with is, say, putting up a post and you've written that, and, you just go and write really nice post, or I really loved this post, or thank you for sharing, or like, it's a very informational post. It doesn't make any sense. It's fine. It's good for their ego boost, but that doesn't mean that it's an engagement. Engagement is something wherein you actually go and take a look at that post, understand it, and then give your own opinion on it. Whether say you concur with it, you differ with it, etc. Whatever. Be polite in whatever you're saying, either differing or concurring. But of course, like something that shows that you've actually not commented for the sake of commenting, but you actually understood it, and you've had an opinion on it and you felt like sharing that opinion. That is real engagement. That is when you actually form a connection with somebody. So there are so many times when students just come and say that, thank you for sharing these tips, etc., etc. That's all great. I really have a nice day when I have these posts trending on LinkedIn. But however, if somebody comes up and talks to me about what I've written, they probably share their own experience. They tell them how, it's not applicable on certain sections of the society, etc. That is when I remember that person. That is when that person, if they ever approach me later, I'm going to remember, okay, fine, that, this person had really put up an engaging story on my own post, and I remember them somehow, right? At least, if not for lifetime, at least for the coming weeks, I'm going to remember that person, right? So that is how you approach somebody on LinkedIn. And last is, what can you do on your profile? So essentially, say you've had connections, you've optimized your profile. Now, what do you do on your profile? You've updated all your certificates, you've updated all your awards, you've updated all the relevant documents, etc. Now, what do you think you can do on your profile so as to gain inbound leads? Now, this was all outbound gain, right? When you were approaching people, you were telling them that, listen, hi, I'm so and so, and I need your help. And if you want my services, you can take these services, right? But what can you do so as to attract recruiters, attract any sort of, freelance opportunities, any sort of opportunities to your profile in an inbound manner, wherein you don't have to say, go and approach people. You can, of course, put content related you're liking. You can, it's literally akin to publication. It's as good as a publication, and it's really less in number and characters. I think only 1,300 characters or something are allowed on LinkedIn. So that is a really good opportunity. Next is publish your achievements. So like, say if you've taken part in a conference, you've taken part in a webinar, you've taken part wherever you've taken part, you can of course publish it on LinkedIn and let people know that, I've say taken part in this. So say if I am a career coach, and if say today I have given this webinar to you guys, I'm going to put up probably say the poster of the same on my profile saying that I had a very nice I had a very nice and say a conversational session with students of Techno India group, etc., wherein, I had shared my learnings on LinkedIn with them, etc. So the point is that you can share whatever you think is your achievement and it's related to your industry. Next is you can, of course, write learnings from your internship or an event. And that is when the next batch of recruiters is going to understand that, okay, fine, this person has been interning at these sort of places and has been publishing these sort of achievements and has also put in this sort of related content. Why not? We'll just go and approach this person for an internship. And mind you, I'm not kidding. It really happens. It actually happens. So it's not something that is made up. I have seen with my own mentees or generally also with my friends, with even myself, that people come and approach you and tell you that, would you want to intern with us or say, would you want to work with us, right? That is an inbound lead. And that happens when your profile is optimized and there's relevant things on the this thing. Now, some issues which you feel should be debated upon. Like I strongly feel that, internships should be paid. There shouldn't be unpaid internships. And unfortunately, in legal profession, most of the internships are unpaid. So I'm very vocal about such issues and I really keep talking about such issues on my profile. So I feel that, these issues should be debated upon. And I keep putting up all these, posts about these things. And then, of course, important updates. Now I can give you an example from my own, this thing. Like say if there's a change in the law, if there is a change in some notification, etc., you can of course put up that update, and that is how people are going to notice you. That okay, fine, she's putting up some important updates which are of course relevant to us, and we can probably go and engage with her profile, we can talk to her, etc. So the idea is that whatever you are putting up on your profile is your portfolio, is your professional portfolio, wherein you are telling the potential recruiter or a potential opportunity giver that listen, uh, I am doing this thing, this is what my professional portfolio looks like, you can see if you like it and then you can give me an opportunity basis. That is an inbound game that you should all understand. And again, after we've done everything, there are few things which are a complete no-no and you should completely avoid. So if you have a LinkedIn profile, it shouldn't be an unupdated one. Like you should completely keep updating it, like every 1 month, every 2 months at least. You should keep updating, not like every week or anything. That will be very paranoid of you. But every 2 months, 3 months, you should keep updating it so that you don't miss out on all the opportunities. Next is no profile activity. So if you're just randomly liking all the posts, if you're just sharing random content here and there, that is not a profile activity. That's not going to help you rank somewhere. That's not going to help you become searchable. So if you have a LinkedIn profile, you'd rather not keep it in stealth mode. You'd rather keep it in active mode. That's the point of having a profile in the first place. Next is that if somebody has answered you, like if some CEO, some vice president, some president, some whatever, CTO, CEO, etc., has answered you on LinkedIn, don't exploit the fact. Don't go on questioning them in a loop, right? Respect their time and leave the conversation gracefully, so that next time also when you have to approach them, they don't avoid you saying that, oh my god, this person ate up 1 hour of mine that day, I'm not going to engage with that person. Don't be that person, right? So don't be that person. Next is, of course, don't spam. So sometimes what happens is people just keep spamming that, hi Ashna, can you tell us some job opportunities? Next, hi Ashna, can you help us with our resume? Hi Ashna, can you help us with the cover letter? So if I'm not replying, I might be busy somewhere, I might be unwell, I might be in the middle of a meeting, etc., right? Don't spam. And last is, don't ask for professional favors instantly. So the idea of LinkedIn, as we discussed, I never told you that in the entire session that you can just walk up to somebody and say, hi, can you give me a job? Or say, hi, can you give me an internship, right? That's not the point. The point is to network. The point is to build a connection. The point is to build a professional relationship, and then ask for something that is, say in your professional capacity, to ask them on the basis of the connection that you've done. So asking somebody for a job, saying, hi, can you give me a job, is not networking. You can't just walk up to a very senior person of Facebook and just message them, hi, can you give me a job? And then they'll be like, okay, fine, I'll just give you. No, you can't do that. That's where more than half of the students or young professionals miss out. You have to connect with them, you have to reflect about, say, what you're doing, and then you have to say, probably later, gradually, when you've developed that connect, you can ask for favors. So I think that was that. So if there are any questions, I think we can take them up. And of course, like, you guys can mail me, you can connect with me on Instagram. I'm very active there on my page. So yes, I think that was that.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, ma'am.
Ashna.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. That was really informative, and I personally learned a lot from this webinar. I have noted down all the queries that our viewers had during this meeting,
Sure,
and
sure,
now I'd like to answer them.
sure.
So, Danish Ansari has asked that LinkedIn had confirmed a data breach of about 500 million subscribers, and their personal details are being sold online. So, Danish would like to hear your opinion on this.
See, again, I don't think our data is safe anywhere. Like, you talk about WhatsApp privacy policy, the case is literally pending in Delhi High Court. I mean, that is the worst thing that can happen to a company where, you are being questioned in a high court of a country for data breach or say for privacy issues. So I feel that privacy of your data is just a myth now, and your data is all over the place. So of course, there are advocates fighting for it. The law is fighting against it. But just because you feel that, there's a data breach and you don't want to use it, of course, you're free to do that. But I feel that, you are probably missing out on a lot of opportunities if you do that. So similar is the case with Instagram, Facebook. Then, you just stop using everything and like probably just rely on newspapers and all of that. So yes.
Definitely, ma'am. So there's a follow-up question for him. He says that hackers are using LinkedIn to target people that are looking for jobs with fake offers. So
Sure.
basically, he wants to know how can we identify an authentic job from a fake one?
That is a good question. So, like, say for instance, you see a lot of internship. Okay, so internship organizations, etc., wherein they've said that, we have an internship opportunity or say job opportunity at Facebook. And if you're interested in applying, comment interested, or say, comment your email ID. That is when you know it is just not worth it, right? I mean, if say you come on my profile, there are a lot of times I have mentioned that, if you want to check my brochure, then you can either DM me your email ID or you can put it in the comments, because I know a lot of people are not comfortable sharing their email IDs in the public domain, but yet they go ahead and do it. But that doesn't make me say, like a fake profile or something, because I've been demonstrating it through, say, testimonials that, what I'm doing. But when you see regularly on a page wherein, they are just there for the purpose of, say, saying that, you can just put your email ID and we'll just get back to you, and then nobody gets back to you ever, and you see 600 comments, 1000 comments on that post, you essentially can't be like, you essentially have to identify that, listen, this is a fake profile, or say this is somebody who's just collecting our email ID for no good, and you might as well want to just stay away from that page. Somebody who's doing it regularly, right? Somebody who's not, somebody who could have just said that, this is my email, this is the email ID wherein you could have applied. Instead of doing that, they collected 10,000 email IDs. What is the point of collecting, right? So that is when you identify. But yes, of course, there could still be fake people around here.
Definitely, that was very informative. So Piyush Raj has asked if certificates are really helpful in getting job opportunities from LinkedIn.
So again, depends what kind of a certificate. Now, say for instance, if I go to a webinar and, say if I was still a lawyer by profession, and I feel that, I just attended some random webinar on labor laws, okay? And then I just go and tell the person that, listen, and I go and tell the recruiter that I've attended this labor law webinar. Can I please be inducted in your labor law practice? They're going to be like, sorry, even if you have this random certificate, doesn't mean that, we are going to just select you for the job opportunity. You really need to demonstrate it. So now depends what is the kind of certification that you have. Say, is it say from an internship? Is it from an award? Is it from a course that you took up, etc.? Is it from some skill building course, etc.? It really depends. And of course, recruiters do take into consideration, but not always. There has to be practical demonstration of, say, whatever you're claiming in your certificate. So yes, that's that.
Okay, ma'am. Going on to the next question, it is asked by Ankit Singh. He has asked that he feels that he has wasted an year in doing some course that he does not have. I'm reducing it. He does not have much practical experience in this course.
Right.
So should he list it as a skill on LinkedIn?
Okay, again, a very good question. See, like all of us as students, we've done really random courses, like, done just randomest of all courses. And, then you later realize that it doesn't make sense at all. And earlier I used to list everything on LinkedIn that, ye workshop kiya, ye course kiya. But then I realized when I sat for my first ever job interview, I got rejected from there actually. It was a very big law firm of the country and I was in my 4th year of college. And they asked me all the random questions from all the random certificates that I had listed, and I had no clue what happened in that certification course, etc. That is when I realized that, listen, people do take into account whatever things you're listing on your resume or your LinkedIn, and you might as well just put up something which you're confident about, which you feel that, you actually learned something, or say something that relates to your profession or the industry you're applying to. So if you've not learned anything, my sincere advice is to not put it up anywhere. Just forget about it. It's okay. Like, that money is gone to waste. It's fine. But at least not ruining your other future job opportunities. So yes, that.
And the next question is from Pragati. She said that she would love to know about topics that she should post as she's just starting out with the corporate world, probably searching for the first job or an internship. So that's a question.
So, I mean, it really depends on the kind of industry you're targeting. Like, again, like how I discussed that, I'm very vocal about, say, the internship opportunities, the paid internship opportunities that students should get, or say the good working environments the interns should be exposed to, or say the practical knowledge that the certifications should be given. It really depends on your industry. Now, say, for instance, if you're a growth hacker, you could probably say put up a post saying that, how can you increase your email subscribers, something like that, or say, how to reduce your email unsubscribers, something which catches the attention of your potential audience, something which shows that, okay, fine, like she or he is doing or like going in that direction. So yes, it really depends on your industry actually. So there can't be specific topics. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. And we have a question from Swati Dhara. She says that she had an old LinkedIn profile, but she has not used it in a really long time.
Okay.
And as she is now pursuing an MBA, she asks your opinion if she should open a new LinkedIn account, a fresh one.
Yeah, of course, of course. So when I think I started my LinkedIn account in 2013 when I entered law school, and and our professor sent a request to the entire batch probably, and then we just randomly created that account, and that account remained dormant for my 5 years of legal education. I didn't touch it also. Like I forgot the password also probably, and then after that, when I stepped into industry, I realized how much probably I've lost, and I could have gained so many opportunities on that account itself. That is when I started posting on it, and people started noticing, my connection started increasing, etc. So there is no hard and fast rule as to say that, how much you should be using the profile, etc. Again, it really depends on. Now there are days when I don't use my LinkedIn profile. Why? Because probably I'm not in the mindset, I'm busy with some other project. That doesn't mean that, that my profile has just become redundant. So it's okay. Even if you've not used it in years, it can't be like more than 5 years. Like I didn't use it for 5 years literally. So it's okay. You can just start using it now. Nobody cares when you created it. So yes.
Okay, we have another question from Mr. Avinash Kumar Singh. He asks that whether the big recruiters really recruit employees from LinkedIn for their operational work rather than searching from big institutions. Basically, he's asking that tier 2 or tier 3 college students, do they have a chance to stand beside the tier 1 students if they have a good LinkedIn profile?
Okay, I mean, I feel that tier 2 and tier 3 students have rather a greater chance on LinkedIn. Why? Because the placement cell is anyway not exactly helping them, right? So, like, you really need to help yourself if the placement cell is not stepping in and not giving you job opportunity. So, where do you find that opportunity? You obviously find it on, LinkedIn, or say you find it through your network. And where is that network? That network is all sitting on LinkedIn itself. So I think that yes, big recruiters, of course, I have seen people from tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 law colleges getting inbound, and not even law colleges, management institutes, or say otherwise engineering colleges, etc., getting inbound leads from recruiters. Why? Because they saw relevant content being posted on that profile. They saw the profile optimized. They saw the profile was probably ranking in, say, Mumbai area or Bangalore area, etc. Even though the college didn't even, like, nobody knew about the college also. So it doesn't really matter. Actually, it's a very huge opportunity for tier 2, tier 3, college students to be active on LinkedIn, rather than, say, tier 1 people would rather be like, "ठीक है, हमारा placement cell is going to, like, help us anyway. Why should we bother going on LinkedIn?" So that's the whole idea. So I think tier 2 and tier 3 is definitely supposed to be helped by LinkedIn. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. And I would like to request all the viewers now, if they have any further questions, just to post them in the chat, and I will ask Ms. Ashna Jain myself. In the meantime, I have a few questions from my panelist here, Tirthajyoti Sinha, and I'll ask them to you.
Sure, sure.
He asks that, is LinkedIn Premium worth it if one is desperately seeking for a job?
Okay, again, I don't personally feel that LinkedIn Premium is worth it. LinkedIn Premium is only when you have to send a bunch of emails. That's it. Like, so say, for instance, if you're directly approaching, say, a CEO of a very huge company, or say a startup, right? You just directly have to, say, suppose send them a message because you have something so important to tell them that probably they're going to hire you basis that message, or say give you a chance basis that message. You might as well just take up LinkedIn Premium and do that. But I feel that unless and until, you don't want to use sales navigators, or say you don't want to do complex stuff on LinkedIn, I don't think only for job purposes, premium is any worth. You can have an optimized profile and still get a job opportunity. Premium is not going to say push your profile in any way. It's going to say give you some insights that, okay, who checked your profile, who's regularly checking your profile, etc. But then that becomes like a very playful activity after some time. You just become like really curious about, like, who's checking your profile. It's not helping you get a job. It's rather making you more paranoid and conscious that, why are certain people coming and checking you. So it's okay. I mean, even if, say, you don't have premium, it's fine. You can still get that job opportunity. So yes.
Thank you, ma'am. And he has a follow-up question that what can one do if a LinkedIn member is outside his network and he needs to connect with him, and what are the steps involved basically?
So you can first of all see, like, say, okay, I'll give you by way of an example so that you understand it better. Now, suppose you want to connect with somebody at Upgrad, okay? So you just type Upgrad in the search bar, and then you just click on that company page. In the right side of LinkedIn, you will find out who all are the employees working there. You click on that, and then you see that do you have any first connections there, or do you have any second connections, third connections? If you have second connections, that is great. You click on that second connection, you go to that person's profile, and then you see that, who is that person and who is your first connection in that case, right? So first connection is your immediate connection. Second is that first connection ka connections, like a mutual friend, if we talk in terms of Facebook, right? So that second connection person, you need to understand that who is your mutual friend with that person. You go to that mutual friend and tell them that, listen, hi, I'm so and so, and I really need to connect with that other person that you are friends with. Can you, like, introduce me? And I would want to send a connection request for some particular job purpose or internship purpose. And then you can, of course, that person can introduce you. You can send your resume, etc. Whatever your purpose is, and then you can get connected with them. If not, you can just directly send them a request, right? You can just directly send them a request with a message saying that, who are you, and, like, what do you do, what are your skill sets, etc. I personally feel if you get a referral from a first mutual connection, that is way better, and that is something that increases your chances of, say, getting accepted into somebody's network. So yes, these could be two ways.
Thank you, ma'am. And there's another question from Mr. Sajid Ali. He's asking that as going to be new in LinkedIn. So basically, he's inquiring about how should one know about the proper news about company vacancies, and know about if there's a fraud advertisement there in the name of a company. So how does he know about it?
So ideally, I mean, there are, like, there are like 2-3 ways of knowing this. You can either go to that company page itself and see that whether, they have posted about a vacancy or not. So if they haven't, you already know that, the vacancies that are floating around are, say, probably fake. Second is you can see who are the hiring managers of that company, and you can find them easily on LinkedIn by putting in all the filters. And you can see if they have posted a vacancy. So even if they have not posted a vacancy, then of course, if some random page is posting a vacancy, it's definitely fake. Then you shouldn't fall for it. So yes, I think, but otherwise, honestly saying, there's no way of identifying fake profiles. They are floating around everywhere on every platform. So it's okay. You can hardly do anything.
Definitely, ma'am. So I have a follow-up question from Ankit Singh. He says that because of the pandemic, he wanted to do engineering, but because of the pandemic, he's pursuing BCA and BBA now. So if he goes back to engineering after wasting a year, should we give it to LinkedIn or just leave it? That's what he actually meant from the previous question.
Actually, it doesn't matter. It's actually nice to say update your LinkedIn profile as to say what you were doing at what point in time. I feel people at LinkedIn are more considerate about, say, your professional choices than, say, being a little judgy. Say on Facebook, people would be really judgy on Facebook, or say Instagram, that, oh, this person dropped out and then, he's going back. But on LinkedIn, it's, say, your career trajectory. And even if, say, you reach out to an employer and you tell them that, listen, I sort of did this, and because of the pandemic, I had to change my needs. And now I'm, say, probably back on track. They are going to understand it. Why? Because, life happens to everybody. Pandemic actually happened to everybody. So it's okay. It's fine. You can take that chance. And there is no point of, say, hiding it, because anyway you're going to present your resume at the end of the day later, so they're already going to know somehow, somewhere, that you made these life choices. So it's better to list them out on LinkedIn itself, and people are really accommodative of these choices. Yes.
Okay, so I think with that we are done with the questions. And is there any more questions? I'd really like you all to post in the chat. We can just take maybe 1 or 2 more questions if there is.
Yeah, we can take up.
Okay, ma'am. So I think there are no further questions and everything has been answered. So with this, we come to the end of the webinar on LinkedIn coaching with Ms. Asna Jain and Mr. Ravi Ranjan. I hope you guys got something informative out of this, and I hope that you will all be able to apply this information in your day-to-day lives, and hence level up your LinkedIn profiles and get better career opportunities. So this is Ms. Sagnik, and I'll be wrapping up this webinar now. Thank you all for being a patient audience, and all the best for your future endeavors. Bye. Good evening. Bye.